We're back.
Fucking 2 weeks in a row.
Can you believe it?
Check us out.
Building MHAT. Welcome back.
Building MHAT is back. 2025, consistency. We are off to a flyer. Yeah. We had the first episode of 2025 last week. It was good to be back here doing this. And, better set the timer so I know how long we're recording for. First things first. We just had an event for our mentorship coaches. So our awarded mental health and exercise coaches who have graduated our award and are then on our mentorship, who Ben helps basically, I'll set the timer for 30 seconds rather than 30 minutes, who Ben helps every single week growing a successful and fulfilling fitness business. We just had a call with them and my head was absolutely up my arse and Ben was in a little bit of a giddy mood. So I don't know how today's going to go, but
probably more of the same, to be honest.
Probably more of the same. Last week we shared a couple of our highlights from 2024 and what we're looking forward to in 2025. Later on in the episode we're going to be sharing some of the cool things again that have been happening this week that we're looking forward to over the course of the coming weeks and months when it comes to building MHEC into the biggest and best fitness education academy in the country. Fucking hell. Right, it started already.
You are on one today.
So, what we... I thought of something. So I was on the plane home from London yesterday and I had to think about how can I annoy Ben today. So...
this is a recurring theme. Every week there'll be something you will try and do to annoy me. So I think I'm going to need to try and start doing the same.
How can I wind up Ben? How can I annoy Ben? And I thought there's nothing that irritates Ben more and gets under his skin more than when there is some sort of practice commonly preached within the fitness industry that is widely believed as gospel and he knows it to be absolutely utter fucking nonsense.
Within reason.
I love it when he gets on his high horse, and rightly so as well, because look, one of the reasons that we love this mission and love working for this company and all the amazing things that we're doing is it is a challenge. It's a massive challenge. Like, we are not just challenging, society's kind of mental health ideologies or exercise barriers. Now we've found ourselves faced with another really difficult mission, which is undoing so much of the shit that personal trainers get taught. Because the issue before, let me go back out, probably pre-lockdown, so I'm going maybe a little bit earlier than that, but I'm thinking definitely around 5 years ago, there weren't, the issues with PTs was that their PT qualifications weren't good enough, right? And they weren't being trained up to do anything of a high standard, which is why there's a massive churn rate in the fitness industry. It's sort of like a revolving door. And that still is a massive issue that we're trying to solve. But actually one of the potentially just as worrying issues now is that there's been this boom of fitness business mentors, and particularly since lockdown, who are feeding personal trainers absolutely nonsense about how to grow a successful fitness business, and really it's all about how can they use emotionally manipulative tactics on vulnerable individuals and try to charge them thousands of pounds for a fitness program in order to justify this PT paying the mentor more money. And this is what irritates Ben quite a lot, as well as me. Obviously.
Yeah, it is frustrating. I think it's more around the kind of, when you look at some of maybe the ethics and morals of some of the things that you either see them preaching, or even some of the horror stories that we've heard of coaches that have been part of these groups that come to us and are, with the greatest respect, a bit damaged and needing to unpick a lot of what they had been taught. And I think there is still a place for that type of education within the fitness industry, 100%. My feeling and opinion on it, this is just my opinion on it, is that there needs to be more than just, well, this worked for my business and made me really successful, so everyone needs to copy what I did to get to the same place, because that just creates an army of mini mentors. Yeah, sheep, effectively. Whereas the point that I want to come from is, like, it's running a business, it's your business, no one else's. The amount of conversations I have with coaches where, like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this. And the first thing, and they'll say, what do you think? I'll say, well, what's your gut telling you? Like, do you think that's right for you in the direction that you want to take your business? What's your strategy? What do you want to focus on? Who do you want to help? Rather than being told, well, you need to focus on driven individuals, busy mums, all the cliches that we hear in the industry.
High performance.
Loads of things that we hear in the industry that they're being fed all of this stuff. And like I said, I think it's got its place, but I think I should caveat all of this by saying my background isn't in the fitness industry, and I've came from other industries, and have 2 business degrees, not to blow my own trumpet, where I've been taught all of the theory and worked in different industries in a practical sense and seen the fundamentals of businesses and how they operate, which is ultimately why you asked me to come and join the company in the first place. But when I first joined the company and I was starting to do some research into the industry, understand how gyms operate, how PTs operate, the norms in the industry, the amount of times I came to Dan and I was like, why do people do this here? And naively on my part, I believed what Dan told me, because he was like, oh, that's just the quirk of the industry. That's how it works here. And this is how, well, everyone does it that way, and that's how it works. And I was like, right, okay, I'll not question it too much then. I just can't see why it's done in that way. And we can get a bit more into it, I'm sure, at some point. And then over time, I was just like, no, like this isn't right. Why are things run in this way? It feels like it's broken. Like, that wouldn't happen in another business, in another industry. Like, for example, barbers, right? Hairdressers. They don't show, well, they show before and after pictures of their haircuts for their clients, but they don't sit and slate the haircut that they had before and now the haircut that they've got, the way that fitness trainers can slate the behaviours or habits that someone might have had before they came to work with them, and now the transformation that person's had. So that's just one example. I feel like I'm rambling now. You can already feel like I'm getting on my high horse.
I haven't even asked any
I feel like Dan has just teed me up, ready to ask me these questions, because I'm already feeling a bit passionate about things.
You poke the bear.
You poke the bear.
You poke the bear. It's true though, and I think if there's anyone watching this who is a personal trainer, or actually anyone, and you've got a goal or you've got a dream, and there's certain stumbling blocks or hurdles that are in your way, or you're feeling like you need to do things in a certain way, but you're not sure why, ask yourself the question that Ben asks every single coach he works with, being like, but why do you want to do that? The amount of conversations he's had, and I've had, but mainly you, when you dissuade a coach from an idea they've had, because it's like, well, do you really want to do that? You want to open a gym? This is stressing you out. Is that what you actually want, or is it just because everyone else is opening a gym? And it's so true, like what Ben said, when it comes to kind of the overall goals that we want for people to run businesses. I've just signed up a coach on the award in MHEC, and one of the things she said was, she was like, I don't care about the money. I just want to be able to have fun in my job. I want to enjoy it. I want to find it fulfilling. I said, and that's what we do, and that's what we encourage everyone to do as well. But look, lo and behold, then once you do that, you will grow a successful business, but it's a byproduct of you having a job that you love, and you love the people that you're working with as well. And we practice what we preach. Those are the values that we have. And we hopefully instill them with all the people that we work with. So with that in mind, with Benjamin up on his high horse, I thought of some funny things that were going to wind him up. So I was on a plane home from London last night, and I was like, if I gave Ben the opportunity to be able to dispel some myths, or kind of bust some myths, what would that look like, and what would be some of the things that may irritate him? But not just that, it's going to give him the opportunity to actually educate you on the right way of doing things. Obviously, when I told Ben I was going to do that for him, then he has decided to do it for me as well. So we're going to do something, basically it's called true or false. So I'm going to ask Ben a question, I'm going to say true or false. A couple of them I'm kind of wanting to poke the bear, but some of them I'm hoping are going to stimulate some really good conversation. Some of them aren't a piss take. It's going to really hopefully hone in on a real response, because the most important thing that I want from anyone watching this today who's interested in fitness, exercise, business, whatever it is, to be able to come away from this thinking about something slightly differently and knowing that you're getting the advice from people who are working within the industry day in, day out, advising people, and their success is absolutely fucking booming. So we know what we're talking about. We don't know it all, absolutely not. We're still learning ourselves, but we've got a pretty good track record when it comes to helping people improve their mental health through exercise and helping coaches grow a successful and fulfilling fitness business. So, right.
I'm interested to see what you've got. Disclaimer, I don't know what he's about to ask me. And,
this one's going to I think this one's going to wind you up. Right. Now, I need you to pay really particular attention to the specific language that I'm using here.
Okay. Well, it might take me a minute to think of a response, if that's okay.
Right. I'll put quotations for the language. Business income is the most important measurement and indicator of the success of a business. True or false?
False. It's a good measure, 100%. And I think I'm going to caveat what I'm about to say by saying it is important to track that, but it's not the sole marker of health for your business. And what Dan is trying to do here is wind me up when I've got a thing that I used to get annoyed about when I saw, probably still do, when I've seen coaches in general, not just the fitness industry, coaches, life coaches, whatever it may be, sharing like Stripe screenshots of revenue, and things like that can be spoofed, that can be fake, it can be completely false. Some of that, I'm very sure that there will be some of that is actually legitimate success that they've had with some of their clients and customers. Not taking that away from them, it is really good work. But the issue I have with that is that it doesn't tell you the full picture, the whole story of the work that's went in to get that. So yes, someone might have earned 10k, 15k, 20k in the month, and that's the highlight figure, income for that or revenue rather for that month. But it doesn't tell you the full picture, because that could have cost that person 15,000 in ad spend to get that 20,000, and the profit of that still 5,000. That's good. It doesn't tell you the full story, and all, in my opinion, that does is it makes other coaches looking at that stuff feel guilty or feel worthless or lacking in self-belief and self-confidence in their own ability if they feel like that is so far away from the money that they're earning and they're achieving. And I think the example that I've given before is with some of these results that are shared, if someone's earned like £10,000 revenue in the month, but it's cost them £9,000 to get that through mentorships, ads, other business expenses, rent, all these types of things, their profit's 1,000. And then you've got wee Jimmy on the gym floor that doesn't do any ad campaigns, and he might have a really good program, and he earns £3,000 revenue in that month, but his overheads are a lot lower. And say, for example, his profit at the end of the month is potentially £2,000, £1,500. That's a healthier indication of that business, in my opinion. But poor wee Jimmy might look at that coach, poor wee Jimmy, sorry Jimmy, might look at that other coach, sorry, this is really serious. I'm just trying to make the point. That coach on the gym floor might then look at the other coach that's earned £10,000 revenue and think, oh my God, I'm doing it all wrong. Like, I'm not set up properly. Like, how could I earn more? When actually, they're more profitable than the coach that's been held up as a success. So that's my thoughts and opinions on it. Income/revenue, yes, good indicator, not the only indicator. Focus on the bottom line. Profit is sanity. Income is vanity.
Oh, that was beautiful.
I'm sure you've heard that before.
Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah.
No, wait.
Yeah, amazing takeaway.
Yeah, profit is sanity, income is vanity.
Yeah, exactly. No, brilliant. That was exactly what I expected and more.
Good.
I think the only thing I'll add to it as well, and this is from a personal perspective as well, is I was taught to look at income as the metric as opposed to profit, and it creates a false sense of not just business security, but a false sense of success. 100% it does, because if you see all these huge amount of figures, coming in, and you think, oh my God, I'm fucking flying, but then actually you just don't put two and two together and realise, well, that money's not actually in the bank because you spent X amount to get there. But yeah, don't believe everything you see online, and 100% look at the profit, not
there
the
are
income.
so many other more KPIs that I believe coaches should be tracking, and if you want to know what they are, send me a message.
Nice. Right, ready for a second one?
Let's go.
Can't remember what the second one is. This is an interesting one. This one I don't think is going to rile you up. I think you should just have like a decent answer for this.
Okay.
It's a thought-provoking one. PTs should follow other PTs on social media for inspiration. True or false?
Thought-provoking. I think it can be a good thing and a bad thing, so I'm going to get splinters here from sitting on the fence. I think it's good because I think from the point of view of looking at what other people are doing in the industry to see how the market is changing, the industry is changing, what trends are becoming apparent, what is working for some people is good. Because ultimately it's understanding the business environment that operates. So obviously businesses always look to see what their competitors are doing as part of their marketing strategy and their strategic priorities to come up with ways that they might be able to counter what their competitor is doing, because at the end of the day it's all about market share and trying to outdo your competitors. So from that point of view, I think it is important to understand what other people are doing and using it to fuel some positive changes in your own approach to business, attracting and retaining customers, improving your service and things like that. So I think it's good from that point of view. The reason I think that it can be bad is when it comes to comparison, I guess, and I imagine this is probably the point that you're wanting to get across, is I think it's bad when then coaches compare where they're at compared to other coaches and where they may be. But in my view, you're comparing apples with oranges, because some of these coaches might be more experienced, they might have different circumstances, they might work in a completely different geographical location, and tapping into a completely different demographic of customers and a client base that you don't have access to. For example, you might have one coach that's working in a really affluent area in the city, in London, and all the clients are bankers or business owners in that area, and then you might have someone outside of that environment that might just work in a small gym in a small town that isn't as affluent as the customer base there, and it's an unfair comparison from that point of view. So it's when that comparison then turns into the coach potentially feeling, well, I'm not good enough, or what I was saying earlier about that lack of self-belief, that lack of self-confidence. So that's my view on it. I'm going to sit on the fence. It can be good if it's used for the right purposes, which is market research and changing and honing and improving your service and understanding trends in the market. It can be bad if that is then used to compare where you're at and then potentially lead to some lack of self-belief and confidence.
Yeah, it's exactly. I know you so well. It's exactly what I expected. Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, like, I think what you said at the start was actually really important as well. It's like, I heard a really positive reframe once that was like, have a look at people, maybe get that little bit jealous, but use that jealousy to determine what it is that you really want, or look at the good things that they are doing that then you can learn from. And like I used to say this years ago, something along the lines of like, don't worry about your competition, just focus on yourself. Like if you're good enough, you don't worry about the competition. And that is true to a certain extent, but actually you should worry about the competition a little bit. What can you learn from them? What you don't need to come up with everything fresh yourself. Like imitation is, a form of flattery as well. And like, if other people are innovating, you should be looking at that, like Ben said as well, to look at trends. Do you know what I mean? Like the amount of PTs that will have not done our award, but will be going off and offering mental health support now because we've been leading the way for that. And they know, well, it's not a trend, but you know what I mean? So they know that they need to be then jumping on that bandwagon now. now. So, and look, if it improves their service, fine. It's not the right way of doing things, but yeah, there's definitely a lot that you can learn from that. That was good. Right, last one.
I think we might need to do a longer episode today, having just glanced at the timer.
Yeah. Told you I'd get him on his high horse. Or we can just do your questions today. We can do mine next week. Sorted. So this is now a business. This has turned into a business pod.
There we go. And it means that we are more likely to then actually come back next week and record again.
Yeah.
Building habits and behaviours.
Right, we'll spend a few minutes doing this one, then we'll update you on building MHEC. Right, I like this one. I think you're going to go down the same lines as the other couple of ones and answer in the way that I think you will. PTs, not... This is actually true for all business owners, really, but we're using PTs for this example. And also for the last question as well, when it comes to social media comparison, whatever, this doesn't just apply to PTs. PTs are our customer base, which is why we frame it there, but no matter the business, it all applies. Question number 3. PTs not understanding and sticking to their values is probably the biggest cause of confusion we see in coaches all over the industry. True or false? True or false?
Not understanding.
PTs not understanding their values or sticking by their values and staying true to their values is probably the biggest cause of confusion we see in coaches all over the industry. True or false?
I would say true. Is that what you think?
I think it is. I think if there was 2 of the biggest things, that would be it, and the other one would be limiting beliefs. Yeah. But that one, I would, one of, if not the biggest.
Yeah, no, the reason that I kind of hesitated there was I'm trying to think back to, in particular, conversations I've had with people in the past, and there's a lot of confusion that people have in the industry, and I think most of it does inherently come down to lack of understanding of what their values are, sticking to them. And the reason that I feel, or I imagine you feel, that leads to confusion is that there are values that are part of a coach's whole being that might not align with a lot of the values that they're maybe learning or being taught through social media in terms of how to run and operate their business. Which causes confusion because they might then feel that, well, if everyone else is thinking that that's what we should be doing, that's kind of going against my values. Do I go with what I'm being told to do over here, or will I stick and remain true to myself? And what we and I try to encourage with that is, build a business that's in line with your values. And it's cliche as, but I was always brought up to treat others how you'd like to be treated yourself. And I think business is no different in the sense of, well, run your business in the way that you want your business to be run, that suits you and serves you, aligning to the customers that you want to attract and retain as part of that as well.
Yeah, the kind of those 2 things, the not understanding and sticking to the values, and then the other point that I made there about limiting beliefs. The thing that kind of joins them together is confusion. The irony is that there's going to be so many people out there too scared to hire a PT because they think these PTs are up on their high horse and they're, they know it all. The amount of confusion, distraction, feelings of unworthiness, feelings of incapability of coaches that we work with all across the industry, or not in our coaches that we work with, because they're absolutely flying now, but ones who come to us or ones we speak to on social media, or ones who do come to the award and then we help them change things. I'm spitting all over this table.
Have you been holding your water again?
I've been holding my
last week.
Spitting all over the table. It's massive. I've never actually met such a fucking confused bunch of people than PTs. It's bonkers. And these are supposed to be the people advising other people, So again, I had a call with a coach that, that enrolled for the award. And I said to them, I was like, this doubt, this is this almost paralysis. It's this fear of getting something wrong or not doing the right thing, but they continue to push through until they reach breaking point, and then they reach out to us and be like, help, everything's went to shit. And I say, if you do not have confidence in yourself, why on earth should anyone put their confidence in you? Really, and I mean that for any business owner. If you're offering a service, you know, if you're not selling a product and you're not confident in it, if you're not confident in that, why the fuck should anyone buy it? It's as simple as that, and it's brutal, but it's true. And that just goes to show, actually, it's really got nothing to do with all of this distraction, to do with the other coaches and the comparison, and this coach is doing that, or this business owner is doing that, whatever. It's down to your own confidence. And the best question I can ask you is to, you know, try and explore where that's come from. Because if a coach reaches out to me on social media and says, help, I'm struggling with blah, blah, blah. An example from today, I'm struggling with my PT business. I live in a small village, therefore I'm not able to help as many people. I really struggle with marketing, blah, 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 blah. And then I just went, no. I was like, no, I'm gonna stop you there. Why do you feel like you can't get clients? And then she ended up actually saying it. She ended up saying, oh no, well actually it's because I've got, you know, limiting beliefs, I've got a lack of confidence in myself. I said, well, boom, precisely. It's got nothing to do with you living in a small village then. Absolutely nothing to do with that. It's got to do with you doubting yourself. And I had to have a strong intervention with them because I was like, they said they were off looking for other jobs now. I was like, no. All that's going to happen is you're going to come back around in another 5 years and want to coach again because this is the thing that you're passionate about. So the question that I asked was, where does this lack of confidence come from? Where can we stem that back to? And then let's work through that. That's the thing that needs to be solved, not your fucking marketing. The marketing will come once you feel more confident in yourself and your message and what you can deliver. Right, so next week, Ben's going to have 3 questions for me, which he's already written, which I'm quite nervous for. So
I might actually change them now. I've got a bit more time on my hands to reword them.
Great.
I might not actually.
Cannot wait. Looking forward to that. Right, we've got 4 minutes. What I want to tell you about, well, 3 minutes. What I want to tell you about is something exciting that we're going to be doing for this podcast. So, building MHEC is all about documenting the journey of building our company into the biggest and best fitness education provider in the country. And you'll notice that although we are sitting in this beautiful MHEC gym, and we've got our MHEC program, which is our digital mental health and exercise coaching program for the masses, for people that want to transform their mind, body and life through exercise. We've got our PT qualification that we offer, and we do a ton of community-based events. The thing that we do talk about a lot is the award. And the reason that we do is that we'll be totally transparent with you. That is the main thing that is moving us forward. Because although all of these things are equally as important, when it comes to the thing that we know can really kind of inspire change within the industry, it is the award. And all the others obviously follow in suit. Because that's the thing that people are really crying out for, it's really needed. But so what we want to do is we want to start showing you more of what our MHEC coaches are doing. Since we went and delivered the award in person, because obviously we don't do that anymore, it's virtual, we haven't had the opportunity to go out on the road unless we're putting on specific events. So what we're going to be doing in 2025, we're going to be doing a building MHEC roadshow, where essentially we're going to be traveling about the UK. We're going to be meeting our coaches in different locations. We're going to be interviewing them. We're going to be getting a behind the scenes of them on their job, where they're implementing the MHEC ideals and methodologies, where they're training up their clients to improve their mental health through exercise. We're going to meet some of their clients, which are going to have inspiring stories. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I cannot wait. So we're aiming for 1 a month. Whether that will happen or not, I don't know. But you know, we're going to think positive. And essentially we're going to be documenting everything. So once a month, depending on the editing, it could end up being twice, we are going to have essentially a Building MHEC Roadshow where you're going to see behind the scenes of our coaches in action. It's going to be inspiring, it's going to be powerful, it's going to be motivating, it's going to be empowering, it's going to be all these amazing things. And hopefully it will give you an insight into some of the amazing work some of our coaches are doing to transform lives all over the country. We've got our first one booked in, but I'm not going to tell you where it is, and that will be live with you in a couple of weeks' time, which is exciting. Yeah. Any final words? We have 33 seconds.
Under pressure. I think the main thing that I want to get from this roadshow is to bring you the work that our coach has done, like Dan just described, because we can sit here all day and talk about everything that we're doing. But I think it's important that you get to see it as well from the point of view of the coaches that we've trained up, but then through the lens of the clients and customers that they're working with as well, to see the changes that they've seen following implementing everything that they've learned through us. So that's what I'm looking forward to most with these. So
yeah, retweet, buzzing for it. So stay tuned, Building MHEC Roadshow.